Today, I want to share some valuable insights on how to identify 5 types of people who can bring negative energy into our lives. Based on current studies, but explained in a way that everyone can understand, this knowledge can transform how you handle your relationships. Recognizing these negative influences is crucial for our spiritual and emotional well-being. When we can identify these patterns, we have the opportunity to choose more harmonious paths, whether by distancing ourselves from these influences, engaging in dialogue to find solutions, or reflecting on whether we might be projecting this negativity ourselves. Understanding these dynamics helps us prevent this heavy energy from harming our personal, emotional, and professional relationships, thereby promoting a lighter and more balanced environment. First type of toxic person, disrespectful. Let's start by identifying the first type of negative energy, the disrespectful person. This behavior is marked by a lack of consideration and respect for others. Imagine a meeting where someone, under the guise of a joke, humiliates another participant in front of everyone. This act, though disguised as humor, emanates a dense vibration that causes discomfort and embarrassment among those present. Often, this behavior is masked as a joke, but in reality, it generates a negative energetic charge that affects everyone around. A clear example is when someone makes derogatory comments or uses words that belittle others. These actions reflect a lack of empathy and a limited awareness of the impact their words can have on the environment and the people around them. It's important to understand that this lack of respect doesn't necessarily mean the person has a malicious heart, but rather that they are acting from a limited and unbalanced perspective. To deal with this type of negative energy, it's crucial to set clear boundaries and, if possible, engage in constructive dialogue. Calm and assertive communication can help the person realize the impact of their words and reconsider their behavior. If the behavior persists, it might be necessary to distance yourself to protect your own inner harmony. Always remember that maintaining a clean and positive energy field is essential for our growth and well-being. Second type of toxic person, excluder. The next type of negative energy we need to learn to identify is the excluder. This behavior manifests when a person divides the world into those they deem worthy of value and those they do not. This division is a projection of their own limitations and prejudices, creating an environment of exclusion and discrimination. Imagine a scenario where a boss favors a small group of people, usually based on family ties or personal friendships, while ignoring those who are not part of this circle. This type of behavior emanates a vibration of segregation and injustice, causing an imbalance in the workplace and affecting everyone's well-being. Prejudices of any kind, whether ethnic, racial, aesthetic, or age-related, are clear examples of excluding behaviors. They are based on a limited and distorted view of reality that fails to recognize the true spiritual essence of each individual. This lack of recognition generates an environment filled with negative energy, which can harm not only those who are excluded, but also those who practice exclusion. To deal with people who exhibit this type of behavior, it is crucial to promote dialogue and awareness. Educating about the importance of looking beyond appearances and recognizing the intrinsic value of each individual can help dissipate these negative vibrations. If the excluding behavior persists, it may be necessary to take firmer actions to protect the harmony of the environment and the well-being of everyone involved. Third type of toxic person, unethical. The third type of negative energy we need to identify is the unethical person. This behavior is evident when someone breaks rules and agreements, acting dishonestly and irresponsibly. The lack of ethics in their actions reveals a disconnection from higher principles and a disregard for the energies that sustain healthy and harmonious relationships. Think of someone who constantly makes promises they don't keep, invents excuses to cover their failures, or acts dishonestly to achieve their goals. These attitudes create an atmosphere of distrust and disharmony, affecting everyone around them. Dishonesty and a lack of responsibility are signs of a soul in imbalance, urgently needing adjustment and reflection. Unethical people fail to recognize the importance of the spiritual laws that govern our actions and interactions. They act impulsively, driven by selfish interests, without considering the impact of their actions on collective well-being. This generates a negative energy field that, if not corrected, can cause deep harm to personal and professional relationships. To deal with this type of behavior, it's essential to establish clear standards of conduct and responsibility. Promoting a culture of transparency and integrity can help realign energies and restore harmony in the environment. When confronted with dishonesty, it's important to stand firm in ethical principles and seek solutions that promote justice and balance. Fourth type of toxic person, treacherous. The fourth type of negative energy we need to address is the treacherous person. This behavior is characterized by duplicity and disloyalty. The treacherous person acts differently in front of others than behind their backs, using lies and omissions to harm others and gain personal advantages. Imagine a situation where someone, seemingly friendly, spreads rumors and false information about you to undermine your reputation or create conflicts. This behavior creates a vibration of distrust and insecurity, deeply affecting the environment and relationships. Betrayal is one of the most painful forms of negative energy because it breaks the bonds of trust and respect that sustain healthy relationships. The treacherous person is disconnected from truth and integrity, acting out of fear and insecurity. To deal with this type of energy, it is essential to maintain a stance of clarity and transparency. Confront the person calmly and directly, seeking to understand their motivations and clarify the situation, which can help dissipate the negativity. If the betrayal persists, it may be necessary to distance yourself from this person to protect your own energy field and well-being. It's important to remember that the truth always prevails, and staying aligned with higher principles of honesty and loyalty strengthens your own positive vibration, emotional patterns, leading to toxic behaviors. It's essential to understand the emotional roots that lead to toxic behaviors. These roots are often anchored in negative emotional patterns that need to be recognized and transformed to promote an environment of peace and harmony. A common emotional pattern is anger. People who frequently experience anger tend to be aggressive and combative. This dense energy of anger can create conflicts and push others away. To manage anger, it's important to practice self-control and meditation, seeking inner serenity. Another emotional pattern is resentment. This arises when someone faces frustrations and difficulties they cannot overcome. Resentment creates an energy of bitterness that can manifest in toxic behaviors, such as blaming others and acting hostile. Working on forgiveness and compassion can help release resentment and restore inner harmony. Lack of empathy is another emotional pattern that leads to toxic behaviors. People who can't put themselves in others' shoes tend to act insensitively and disrespectfully. Developing empathy through active listening and reflecting on others' feelings can transform this negative energy into a positive force for good. Combination of different types of toxicity. It's important to understand that a single person can exhibit a combination of different types of toxic behaviors. This overlap of negativities creates an even denser and more harmful energy field, deeply affecting those around them. Think of someone who not only acts disrespectfully, but also displays unethical and treacherous behaviors. This person ignores principles of respect and honesty, using manipulation and disloyalty to achieve their goals. This combination creates an environment where trust is constantly undermined and fear and insecurity take hold. A clear example of this is the behavior of scammers and con artists. These individuals use lies, manipulation, and betrayal to deceive and harm others. Their character is so skewed that they become masters at disguising their intentions and exploiting others' vulnerabilities. Recognizing this combination of toxicities is crucial to protect yourself and take effective measures to restore harmony. When you identify multiple negative behaviors in a person, it's necessary to adopt a firm and assertive stance. Keeping a safe distance and protecting your energy field becomes essential to prevent these dense vibrations from affecting your inner balance. Emotional patterns leading to toxic behaviors. To deeply understand toxic behaviors, it's vital to explore the underlying emotional patterns that fuel them. These emotional patterns often have deep roots in the psyche and need to be addressed with care and compassion to promote true transformation. One of the most common emotional patterns is anger. Anger is an intense energy that, if not channeled correctly, can lead to aggressive and destructive behaviors. People who don't know how to handle their anger tend to project this negative energy onto others, creating conflicts and disharmony. Practicing meditation, forgiveness, and self-reflection can help transform anger into a constructive and peaceful force. Another emotional pattern is resentment. Resentment arises when someone feels wronged or betrayed and cannot release this pain. This energy of bitterness can corrode the spirit and manifest in hostile and vengeful behaviors. Working on forgiveness and developing the ability to let go is essential to release resentment and restore inner peace. Lack of empathy is an emotional pattern that hinders genuine connection with others. People who can't empathize with others tend to act insensitively and disrespectfully. Developing empathy through active listening and reflecting on others' feelings can help transform this negative energy into a positive force for the common good. It's important to remember that we all have the capacity to change and elevate our vibrations. By recognizing and working on these emotional patterns, we can transform our behaviors and create a more harmonious and balanced environment. The journey to transformation begins with self-awareness and a commitment to cultivating peace, love, and understanding in all our interactions. Dealing with people who emit negative energy requires a careful and conscious approach. First, it's crucial to discern whether we are dealing with an occasional toxic behavior or with a person whose character is essentially toxic. This discernment allows us to choose the best strategy for each situation. Dialogue is the first tool to be used. Seeking calm and assertive communication without aggression can open doors to understanding and change. Practice nonviolent communication by expressing your feelings and needs clearly and respectfully. For example, you might say, "When you do this, I feel disrespected. Can we find a way to avoid this in the future?" If dialogue doesn't work, it's necessary to set clear boundaries. This might involve a more firm conversation, where you make it clear that certain behaviors will not be tolerated. Use calmness and firmness to communicate these limits, always maintaining your inner peace and balance. In cases where toxicity persists and distancing is unavoidable, protect yourself energetically. Practicing emotional and spiritual detachment can be crucial for maintaining your inner peace. Visualize a barrier of light around you, shielding you from dense energies, and focus on elevating your own vibrations through spiritual practices like meditation, prayer, and uplifting reading. The importance of dialogue and nonviolent communication. Communication is one of the most powerful tools we have to transform and harmonize our relationships. Nonviolent communication is especially effective when dealing with toxic behaviors because it promotes a dialogue based on mutual respect and empathy. When we communicate nonviolently, we avoid labels and accusations. Instead of saying, "You are toxic," which creates a barrier and a defensive reaction, we express our feelings and needs. For example, we can say, "When you act this way, I feel disrespected. Can we find a better way to handle this?" The practice of nonviolent communication involves 4 steps: observation, feeling, need, and request. First, we observe the behavior objectively, without judgment. Next, we express our feelings about that behavior. Then, we identify the need behind those feelings. Finally, we make a clear and specific request that can address that need. This approach creates an energetic field of understanding and openness, allowing the other person to express themselves authentically. The goal is to build bridges, not burn them, and to create a space where both parties can evolve and grow. When we use nonviolent communication, we strengthen our relationships and promote emotional healing. This practice not only resolves immediate conflicts, but also establishes a solid foundation for future interactions, creating an environment of respect and harmony. Setting limits and respect. Setting limits is essential for maintaining the harmony and integrity of our energy field. When faced with toxic behaviors, it's necessary to establish clear boundaries that protect our spiritual and emotional well-being. To set limits effectively, it's important to communicate clearly and calmly. Use assertiveness to express your needs and expectations without aggression. For example, you might say, "I respect your opinions, but I cannot allow you to speak to me this way. Let's discuss things respectfully." Silence can also be a powerful tool. When someone acts disrespectfully, a brief period of silence can create space for reflection and self-evaluation. This pause often unsettles the toxic person, making them reconsider their actions. Additionally, visualize a barrier of light around you, a protective shield that blocks negative energies. This practice can help maintain your inner peace, even in challenging situations. Remember that setting limits is not an act of aggression, but a manifestation of self-love and respect. If toxic behaviors persist, consider the possibility of distancing yourself from the person. The distance can be temporary or permanent, depending on the severity of the situation. The important thing is to preserve your emotional and spiritual health. staying aligned with high principles of love and respect. Distancing and tolerance. When all efforts to transform negative energy fail, distancing may become necessary. Distancing yourself from toxic people is not an act of weakness, but a measure of protection and self-care. Recognize that in some situations, maintaining distance is the best way to preserve your inner peace and continue your spiritual growth journey. Distancing can be complete, where you cut all ties, or partial, where you limit contact to the minimum necessary. In either case, it is essential to practice emotional detachment. This means releasing any resentment or grudges that may have accumulated and focusing on your own healing and personal development. If complete distancing is not possible, such as with family members or coworkers, practice conscious tolerance. This involves accepting the person's presence, but not allowing their negative actions to affect your inner balance. Visualize a protective barrier of light around you and keep your energy elevated through regular spiritual practices. Conscious tolerance also includes using grounding techniques like meditation and deep breathing to stay centered and calm. Remember that you cannot control others' actions, but you can control how you react to them. By staying serene and focused on your own peace, you reduce the impact of negative energies in your life. It is important to continue practicing love and compassion, even from a distance. Sending positive thoughts and prayers to the toxic person can help subtly transform the situation. The energy of love has the power to heal and transform, even in the most challenging circumstances. In the end, protecting your emotional and spiritual health is paramount. By choosing to distance yourself or practice conscious tolerance, you affirm your commitment to your own evolution and well-being. Stay firm in your principles and continue seeking light in all your interactions. We have concluded our journey on how to identify and deal with toxic people and behaviors. We have learned to recognize different forms of negative energy and the importance of maintaining our inner peace. Remember that transformation starts within us. Cultivate self-awareness and self-compassion to protect your energy and inspire others. Thank you for joining this reflection. Continue seeking knowledge and transformation. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more inspiring content. Thank you very much. May peace and light always be with you. Until the next time.